are live.
How's it going?
It's all right.
Good. So we're here to talk about me helping you out with regular English class.
Right.
So can you just tell me how things are going in that
Sure.
class since we last spoke?
So it's the same class you observed before, and I took your advice the last time as far as groupings for conversations and working together. I think actually that went pretty well. And I've been continuing to employ that practice in class. My bigger issue now, and it's been going on sort of all year, is the level of work completion. Students are just not really doing work outside of class. Even kids that score high on their standardized test or have previously got A's in English, they're just not doing the work. And so I'm trying to set up a system where I am going to actually get, where they actually have to do it, and I'm going to be able to hold them accountable, besides being totally punitive and just saying, you fail if you don't do the work, because I don't think it's effective either. So,
Let's talk about that for a moment then. Do you find the level of work completion in class is not meeting your expectations? Or
work completion in class is largely fine. I've got about 4 or 5 kids that are extremely low that haven't passed English class for a couple of years. And they don't do a lot of work in class, but I think it's because they don't get it. Okay. And so we can usually drag something out of them. I'll put them in a group with some kids that are a little higher. We'll do like a group activity, or they have to provide input. I can do a little of that, but they really struggle with that. But as far as the rest of them, I think it's largely a motivation issue.
And so you're talking specifically for homework then? That's not getting done.
Okay. Yeah. So we're in the middle of reading Lord of the Flies, a novel now, and just kids are not really doing the reading at home. And I've tried a bunch of things. I have kids that I know are low. I provide a copy of the Spark Notes for them, so I'm not even really reading the full book. Mm-hmm. They read a summary, and I say, please read like this half of the page, and then come back to the summary. So they really have to do 2 or 3 pages of reading. They're not even doing that. And then some of the other kids are just, part of the problem is I don't think they're used to doing homework in English, and so they can do the reading, but they blow off the chapter until the night before, instead of spreading out over a few days. They're just not good at that.
So what's the system you're thinking about putting in place?
Well, one of the things I'm going to start doing is providing that. I did it today. I did it yesterday, but I'm going to today to see how it worked. Is rather than having them read at home and give them a quiz when they get in, the quiz is more like a guided reading piece. That counts as their quiz, so they do it as they read. Okay. So it was pretty beneficial today because a larger group of the kids were better prepared for a class discussion as opposed to some of them just staring aimlessly. But I also had kids I know that I could see them copying off their friends when they came.
Yeah, I find that I had that issue with when I get math homework.
Right. So it worked a little bit, but I still need to come up with a better system because I have a hard time by the end of the unit if the kid hasn't read the book.
Right.
Justifying passing them,
So I guess what I'd like to be able to help you with is how we could work on this in class.
Right.
So it would be great if they all came in and had their homework done. But so let's say that hasn't been the case.
Right.
Do you feel like you're able to identify who those students are pretty quickly?
Very easily. I did it today. We're on a check. I had 2 kids that were absent yesterday. I had them who were pretty high level, and I had them work in the back together to get caught up on the Chapter 5 discussion that we as a class were having.
So you have them work together.
And the kids that didn't get it done, what we did is I had them break up into groups. I said you can only sit with one person at current tables. They got to get into groups of 4. And kids that hadn't finished reading, I made sure there was a group that had finished it, so they're at least part of the discussion. Okay. So at least got what was going on. And I recommended fill it out as you go. And none of them did. Mm-hmm. So I said to do it for tomorrow. But they're at least having a conversation about the book. Mm-hmm. And that's the same method I'm going to try tomorrow. I'm thinking because today was the first day they came in and knew they were accountable for the homework, that maybe that'll improve tomorrow, knowing that I'm going to come around and check it and do the same policy. But one of the things I thought, and then we thought about this is if the kids haven't done it 2 days in a row, maybe trying to create a smaller breakout group.
I was going to suggest that. You're right on it. Differentiating the instruction is something that all teachers are challenged with. But you've now set up a system that's going to allow you to figure out the best way to do so.
Right.
So I know you have a couple support staff in your classroom.
Right.
Maybe you could have like Mr. Stevens work with.
Yeah, get them caught up.
Yeah.
I may do that tomorrow.
Yeah.
It's just I have kids that I know probably won't do it. And those are the same kids, I think, that part of it's not necessarily that they're being rebellious. Mm-hmm. They just don't get it. They're very low. Yeah. And a couple of those kids have IEPs, and so I can maybe put Dave with them. Yeah. In a small group, just make sure they're caught up, and then I can lead the larger class discussion.
yeah, I think that could help keep the flow of the discussion moving along. So you're not trying to tell people, the basics of what just happened in the story. There are people that know that and can have a deeper discussion.
Right.
So what else do you think I could observe as far as in that lesson? Like,
what I would like you to observe too is sort of the flip side of that, people copying, is maybe in the small group discussions, on-task behavior, which we talked about before, and maybe not on-task behavior, but actual participation. Talking about the book instead of just getting everybody else's ideas and filling it out.
Okay.
So maybe
having
comprehension.
like authentic discussion.
Yeah, exactly. That'd be something I like you to observe for the kids that are in the front group.
Okay.
And then maybe observe too about the level of work that's being done in the back
Yeah.
with students.
All right, so that's good. It sounds like you're keeping the groups divided
I'm trying to.
in a certain way.
Yeah.
So there's a good balance of like the higher level kids or with the medium level kids. And so
Right, that's all I'm trying to do,
Yeah.
the grouping. And actually, it's funny, because when I let them form their own groups today, so get a group of 4 with only one person at your current table, the kids actually gravitated towards the groups that we had the other time you observed. They sort of sat with the same group of kids, so
Okay.
I don't know if it's because they thought it was successful last time.
Okay. All right, and then I was just thinking, just based on what I was observing from the previous lesson, if you're all right with me observing how like the timing of each transition is going.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I did it today where we just had a slide that said, discuss at your tables your response to question 4. You have 2 minutes, and we're going to discuss it as a whole class. And I was just doing it based on the slide. So that went okay. I'll try again tomorrow.
Okay. Good. So I'll keep an eye out for that.
Okay.
And then either have suggestions or
Yeah.
or learn from you, from the master.
Or have suggestions. Yeah.
All right.
All right.
Hopefully that's good for me. 7 minutes. All right. I'm going to even